Okay, it's my pleasure to introduce Mike Feuer. Mike did a lot of work for the community as a council member. My first meeting, or my first interaction with Mike, the private sector would help rebuild Sherman Oaks, which it did. But the council member at the time had an issue and felt that the CRA should be allowed to come in and basically do a grab of Sherman Oaks. So again, Jules and I had this committee, and we worked many hours, and we fought the CRA. And one of Mike's early campaign commitments to this organization was that if he was elected, he would make sure that he worked with us to make sure that he killed the project, which he did help us do. And I think, and I stand corrected if I'm wrong, and Mike can clear this, but I think we may be the only organization in the history of California with the CRA. They've been around a long time, but actually beat the CRA in a lawsuit. We filed a lawsuit, and I think we might be the only organization, but maybe there are others, I don't know. But anyway, that was my first introduction. He's a hardworking guy. He is here to talk to you about fixing all of your problems. I know you've asked a lot of questions, every single one of them. Everything that he can do, he is willing to do. He's willing to roll his sleeves up and get in there. But he has to know about it, so hopefully you're writing down all your questions. Ellen, can you come up here? Because Ellen's going to be asking the questions tonight, because I'm going to leave again to spend the last couple hours with my son on his 11th birthday. He's having a party without me. So, but I'm going there now, so don't awe. My priorities are straight. Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association community is my family as well, so now I'm going to go and be with him. So, Mike Feuer, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're doing, what you've done in the past, where you grew up, what you did, and have fun. Nice seeing you.
I think I can do this, right? This is not going to mess up the acoustics here. So I have some announcements. Jules Feuer, who consistently reminds me how fortunate I am that his name is not on the ballot when my name is on the ballot. But Jules asked me to please announce that if you have trash, please put it away. Don't tell me this is not a glamorous job. So that's the first thing I want to say. The next announcement, Jules, fair enough? Okay. Next announcement, I have two members of my staff here. And I know you know both of them, but I want to give them special recognition. Damien Carroll is fast at work. Damien, you have to stop working and wait for a second. Everybody knows Damien, everybody loves Damien. Damien is my Valley staffer. You know, when I was a city council member, I had about 24 staff people and 3 offices. Now, representing 200,000 more people than it is a council member, I have 8.5 staff people. So people are working extra hard, and Damien does a great job. Another one of my staff people is a wonderful person working, among other issues, on the 405 issue. And I think many of you know her, Ellen Isaacs is here. Both staff members are doing an exceptional job. The other announcement, the final announcement I have is, you will hear me talk tonight about legislation pending in Sacramento, including some specific bills that I have authored that are on the governor's desk that are very controversial. Damien is passing out to you pieces of paper on which, if you choose, you can provide my office with your email address. If you choose to do that, then I can send you announcements, including a couple documents that I've been sending to other people who are in my circle, to urge them to contact the governor's office in support of these bills. So if you feel so inclined to occasionally, and only occasionally, receive an update from me, including an action alert when our teamwork is necessary, please sign onto those forms. We'll collect them. I promise not to inundate you, but when you hear from me, it'll be important. So, now, Matt asked me to talk about, I have one more announcement, by the way. The former city controller of the city of Los Angeles has not been announced. Rick Tuttle is with us. Rick, do you want to announce yourself here? Wave. So, the Sherman Oaks homeowners attract elected officials in office, those who used to be in office. We just can't help but gravitate here. What I want to do is to talk to you very directly. You know, one thing I've always done with you is be as direct as I can be. about several key things. I want to talk to you about legislation of mine which is pending on the governor's desk. I want to share with you very candidly the fate of a couple bills that I really wanted to pass that did not make it to the governor's desk, so you know what I'm focused on. I want to mention to you my work as the chair of the Budget Subcommittee on Transportation, which oversees the transportation budget for the state of California in the Assembly. I want to talk with you about one of Ellen's favorite topics, and that's water. As you might know, the governor has called a special session of the legislature to deal with two issues: healthcare, that I'm happy to talk about, and the water crisis in our state. And I've been asked to serve on a small committee of folks who are riveted on the water issue. Happy to talk to you about that. And then we'll see what time we have left for other things. And obviously I want to take your questions. So let me review first some of the legislation that is very much on my mind now, because it has the fate of these bills is in the governor's hands. One of the bills that I think many of you have read about, because it's gotten a great deal of press internationally, not just nationally, let alone in California, is a bill related to public safety. I think many of you know that I used to be the vice chair of the Public Safety Committee when I served on the city council here. And one of the areas of my focus was trying to find practical ways to combat gun violence. The impetus for my work in that area actually began in the Sherman Oaks neighborhood. When I first took office, and just within a few months, there was great controversy about the police department, and a lot of criticism being leveled against the police department. And I went to a very well-attended public meeting at a church not far from here. And if the person who said what I'm about to say is here, I would be interested in knowing that. Because a member of this community stood up, and I'd just been in office for a short time, so it particularly mattered to me, stood up and said that her high school student child had been returning from a football game and went to a 7-Eleven to get a Coke or something, and had been shot by a gang member. And the police came to the scene, and she said she was there to support the police. And as a dad, this is I have a hard time saying this, you'll find. But the police came, and she's there to support the police, she said, because an officer held her son so he wouldn't die by himself. I don't know if you remember that story. It was a painful thing to hear. And as a father of 2 children at North Hollywood High School right now, it's something to which all of us can relate. Issues of gun violence are very difficult to solve, but we have the moral responsibility to find practical ways to combat it. And so I have a bill that would require, for the first time in the history of the United States, that a state have a law that says that a new gun, what's called a semi-automatic gun, which is a gun of choice for people who are involved in crime, a new semi-automatic gun must be equipped with what is called microstamping technology. In plain English, what that means is that the gun has to be equipped with a little laser imprint in 2 different places in the barrel of the gun. Many of you have never fired a gun. When a gun, the trigger is pulled, there's a little explosion in the barrel of the gun. That explosion places the casing in which the bullet is housed into contact with a couple different faces inside the barrel. Microstamping stamps the cartridge with the make, model, and serial number of the gun in microscopic markings. When a bullet is fired, the bullet goes toward its intended target. The cartridge falls at the scene of the crime. I did a press conference a few months ago with the mayor, Chief Baca, and Chief Bratton. And I'll tell you what I said at the conference. I said I had been working closely with Chief Baca's homicide unit. And I asked them to go through their files, and here is what I found. Literally hundreds of instances that look like this. 2 teenage girls